Today's lesson focuses on solving equations with variables on both sides. So while this isn't a whole lot different from the previous lessons, it has a little bit more of involvement that we need to take care of. So our first step is going to be to simplify each side of the equation. In the case of example A, 3n plus 2 equals negative 2n minus 8, there is no simplifying to do on each side because you cannot combine 3n and 2. Likewise, you cannot combine negative 2n and minus 8. So we'll move on then to step 2, which is going to be to get the variable terms together on the same side of the equation. And we talked a little about this last week when we had a couple problems on our homework that involved this. And we have our choice. We can either take our 3n and move it to the other side, or we can take our negative 2n and put it to the other side. Either way, you'll end up getting the same answer as long as you do your math correctly. However, there's usually going to be a better side for which to move it. And what I mean by the better side is where you won't have negative variable coefficients. So I look here, if I wanted to move the 3n, I'd have to subtract 3n from both sides. Now when I do that, over here I end up with a negative 5n. And that to me looks messy. So rather than dealing with negatives, which I know a lot of you tend to dislike, we instead are going to go the other direction. And we are going to add, or to remove this negative 2n, we're going to move it over this way. To get rid of negative 2n, we want to add 2n, and so we'll add 2n to both sides. That allows us to cancel this negative 2n on this side, leaving me with negative 8. And on the left side, we have 3n plus 2n, which is 5n plus 2. The next thing I'm going to do is think about my plan of attack. My plan of attack wants me to be able to create that plan for solving like we've been doing since learning target 8. So what we're going to do is look at how we built that equation, 5n plus 2 equals negative 8, which you've seen problems like this before. To do that, we took n and we first multiplied by 5 and then we added 2. So to do the U-turn, that means that to undo that plus 2 we're going to subtract 2, and to undo multiplying by 5 we're going to divide by 5. So we're going to do the subtracting 2 first, so we'll subtract 2 from both sides, canceling here, leaving me with 5n. And negative 8 minus 2, remember we add the opposite, so negative 8 plus negative 2 is negative 10. And then as it says in our plan, we're going to divide by 5 on both sides, canceling the 5's, giving me n is equal to negative 10 over 5, which negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. We should be remembering to check, so we're going to do a quick check in our heads. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4, so I'm going to jot a negative 4 up top. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. 4 minus 8 is negative 4, so we know that it checks out. So then, if to fill out the rest of our steps with step 4 and step 5. Step 4, we're going to use that golden rule of algebra to cancel the operation, followed by step 5 being to repeat those steps 3 and 4 as necessary to get our solution. Let's move on to our next example, where we have 8y minus 7 equals 7y minus 2. Once again, we don't have any simplifying that we can do on either side because we don't have any like terms. So I need to look and ask myself, do I want to subtract 8y? And yes, both it would be subtract because that 8y, as you can see, is positive. Or do I want to subtract 7y? being that this is also positive. If I subtract 8y, I will have a negative y term. So I'm going to instead subtract 7y from both sides. And when I do that, I get negative 2 on the right, and on the left, I get 1y, which I'm going to write as y, minus 7. So now, y is being subtracted by 7. To get rid of that, we're going to add 7. When we add 7, we get y on the left and 5 on the right. And if I check this answer, 8 times 5 is 40. 40 minus 7 is 33. 7 times 5 is 35. Minus 2 is 33. Let's go ahead and try the next example. Here, as you can see, once again, we don't have any simplifying that we can do, but that's okay. So we'll just get to work. And I see that I have the positive 5k here, but I have a negative 4k here. So I'm going to choose to move this one over to the other side. To get rid of negative 4k, I'm going to add 4k to both sides. And in doing that, I get 15 on the right, and on the left I have negative 12, and 5k plus 4k is 9k. So then I need to come up with my plan of attack. I see that first k was being multiplied by 9, and then adding negative 12 or minus 12. So when I do that U-turn, to get rid of that minus 12, I'm going to add 12. And to get rid of multiplying by 9, I'm going to divide by 9. So we'll first go ahead and add our 12 to both sides, which gives me 9k equal to 27. Then I will divide by 9 on both sides. It cancels the 9's, giving me k is equal to 27 divided by 9, which is 3. And if I check this, 5 times 3 is 15, negative 12 plus 15 is 3, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, 15 plus negative 12 is also 3. So we know that we did it correctly.